Ladies and gents, welcome back. The Liberal government has done everything that they can to squash dissent in the media space. They've spent $1.6 billion buying out all of the old legacy media, whether it's the state-funded media themselves, CBC, or all the others, CTV, Global News, all these other organizations, paying them very handsomely to have mostly favorable coverage. Now, the internet is a different story. There's a whole lot of free thinkers and people who have their own opinions putting that out on social media, whether it's YouTubers like myself, Viva Fry, Live from the Shed, sharing out and showing in real time what's going on in this country. Now, there's also people like yourself that make posts on Facebook or whatever social media that you'd like to. That's all at risk right now because of Bill C-11. Now, we have an article here from the Toronto Sun saying, Trudeau Liberals ram through online censorship bill and only the Senate can save us now. That's what they're saying here. Now, there's a bit of confusion because it hasn't passed the House yet. They're still yet to vote on that, but it's expected that it will. That's what they're saying here in this article, because the Trudy McJuggernuggets party, the Liberal NDP coalition, is definitely doing their best to ram this through, and they're claiming that they're going to vote in lockstep with each other. Now, I've got a link in the description at the end. We'll get into that, but you can write your local MP and try to make it so that they don't vote for this. At least give your heads up. This article reads, it was shortly after midnight on a Wednesday morning that the Trudeau Liberals hastily wrapped up the committee process on the controversial Bill C-11. I'm thinking of like some bizarre novel of villains getting together. But this is the truth. This is the reality of the situation. Normally, such a bill would receive much more time to be debated, but the federal government wanted no such thing. So just like that, while Canadians were sleeping, the government rammed through a bill that would see Canadian social media subject to government censorship. And this is what I'm talking about. It's not just YouTubers like me and your favorite other channels. No, this is going to affect a lot more than that. Despite over 150 amendments proposed and despite protestations from leading experts on the issue, the bill was passed through the committee to return to the House of Commons, where it'll almost definitely be approved by the Trudeau Liberals and Jagmeet Singh's new lapdog party. Hat tip to Lauren Gunter, who coined that most fitting term in the recent column. Bill C-11 described most generously about modernizing Canada's broadcasting laws to allow it to regulate streaming services such as Netflix, as well as social media sites like YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Its aims are in part to promote Canadian content on these services and provide more funding for such content. This is the talking point. This isn't the reality of the situation. This is a censorship bill to control what gets put out on social media. And we'll get into what Jagmeet Singh had to say, because he flipped the narrative already. He's already flipped the narrative, and we're going with a different story here. It's no longer... It comes as in the guise of, we're helping you bring more Canadian content to the internet. No, that's not what it's doing. It's going to squash a lot of Canadian content, believe me. But the part of the bill that caused the greatest alarm is the section that would give Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission, the CRTC, a government agency, the ability to regulate and censor what they call user-generated content. Your posts. The Liberal and CRTC have gone out of their way to say that they don't intend to act on these new powers. We're giving ourselves the power, but we don't intend on acting on them. It's nice, experts respond, but when they don't, you just take out offending provisions then. Yeah, okay. Sorry, that was a weird sentence. We already know the Liberals are absolutely obsessed with the idea of regulating social media. Take, for example, the Heritage Minister Stephen Gilbalt's claim that last year that the public servants needed to be shielded from online scrutiny on how the government wants to create an Orwellian named digital safety commissioner who would be granted the discretion to block websites. Now, the article goes on and on. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below to this article where you can read through it. It's in entireties. I wanted to go over this bit right here. Peter Menzies, a former vice chair of the CRTC, described the bill as thuggish, and in a Financial Post analysis on attempts to receive C-10, which was the previous bill that didn't pass and came back as this Frankenstein of a new bill, C-11, and made it clear that posts by ordinary citizens would also have been under the guise of the regulator. This is the purview. This is the purpose. And so the narrative there is the idea of this narrative is, well, we want to bring more Canadian content. That's what we're trying to do. And if it looks like we're trying to censor you guys, no, that's not our purpose. It may be in the bill, but it's not what we intend to do here. Now the narrative's already flipped, and we've got Jagmeet Singh here
on C-11
on C-11 being asked about this specifically, and this is only a few business days ago. So here we go. Here's the absolutely new narrative.
The government last night passed several amendments, I think dozens actually, that were not made publicly available before the committee approved those amendments. Did the NDP support those amendments that were not made public in advance, and why?
Our position on C-11, and I think it's a really important question.
Well, it's an important question, and he's not going to answer that question. He's not going to answer the provisions question, but he's going to give you the new narrative, and this is the new narrative.
Around how we approach social media. Right now, social media is governed by billionaire tech companies. The algorithm, the choice of what gets seen, what doesn't get seen, is made by those that own the company. So Mark Zuckerberg chooses what gets seen in your feed, what messages get promoted, what algorithm is used to promote some messages or content and to not promote other content. And we have heard very clearly from whistleblowers at Facebook that they incentivize, promote, and use algorithms to make divisive, hateful messages and content more prevalent on the platform because it increases engagement. Why would we let social media billionaire companies use their own algorithms that promote hateful messages because they can make more money off of it, they can have more engagement, rather than allow Canadians to have a say in what content is put out, what content is promoted, what content receives greater emphasis? I certainly would rather Canadians have a say, that we have a democratic input into what content is promoted, rather than allowing these social media companies, which have been proven to be promoting hateful messages, allowing misinformation to divide people, and in fact, allow people to get radicalized online. They have no accountability in terms of making sure those messages aren't promoted, that they're removed, that divisive and radicalizing messages aren't put on the platform. And so I would far prefer Canadians to have a say on that. And
okay, so he didn't answer the original question, but let me just briefly summarize what his gobbledygook was right there. And the gobbledygook came down to the fact that what he's saying is a new narrative. It's no longer about bringing Canadian content to the internet. Now what it is that the big bad guy billionaires are the ones that control the algorithms, and we want to be the ones who control what is in your feed. So he's saying in this that because their algorithms are working for bringing you content that's going to bring you make you more engaged with the platform, he thinks that Canadians should have a say. Now, when he says Canadians should have a say in the democratic process, it's a rich one right there. He's not saying Canadians need to have a say. He's saying that the Canadian government needs to have a say in what gets shown to you in the feed. So your feed, whether it's whatever social media that you use on the regular, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, all of these social medias, they have a feed that's catered to bring more engagement to you. Now, there is the phenomena that, more content that gets you riled up will be put on the main page because it gets more engagement. There is an element to that, and we understand that making the algorithms more open is something that we would want to move towards, and this is the whole point that Elon Musk is getting at in opening up and making things open source. Instead, what we have is an advocate here in the government that says, no, we don't want openness. We're not looking for openness. We just want to be in control of that. We want to control the feed. So what you see is what we want you to see. So and he even said, promote certain content and demote certain content. He didn't say in those exact words, but that is what essentially the feed is going to do. And we've seen this happen on social media in the past few years, where we have companies who have an ideological bend. They will bend to that ideology, and well, we want to get away from that. And by giving the keys to the government is not going to fix that problem. It's going to exacerbate it, and it's going to put more power in the hands of the state, i.e. Jagmeet Singh or Justin Trudeau, in deciding what's going to be in your feed. Now, I was saying at the beginning of or earlier in the video, I have a link in the description, and this is still relevant today. You can go to this link here, digitalfirstcanada.ca, where you can, there's a template made it really easy for you. I'm a creator, a Canadian digital creator. I'm a concerned Canadian citizen. I'm a concerned global citizen. You don't even have to be a Canadian to get a part of this. But if you're a Canadian citizen, one of these two will fit you. You click the link. It'll give you a choice to put in your postal code. It'll figure out who your MP is. You don't even have to do the work. You don't even have to do the homework. You can get right on that, and then send a letter out. It gives you a template. You can adjust it, and then send it out to tell them that you don't want them to vote for this bill, which they're trying to ram through. It has not been voted for in the House. Please let them know. Now, if it does go through the House, it still has to go through the Senate, so we still have a fight here. And we got to try to stop this bill, because this is Soviet Union level stuff here. This is what we're talking about. And you're talking about losing all your favorite creators, because I know a majority of them, they're going to move their businesses outside of Canada. And I'm not talking just political content. I'm talking people who do exercise videos, people who do cooking videos, people do all kinds of outdoor, you name it. You name the genre, there's Canadians doing it, and they won't be able to do it in a fair and open environment once this bill passes. Okay, so just for the sake of this video, not going too much longer, I'm going to end it here. But I would definitely like for you guys to keep the conversation going. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Help the algorithm push this thing out by hitting the like button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We'll keep this information getting out there, and this is why I keep making videos about it. So I want to keep pushing this out to help stop this bill, because this is really going to end stuff like this YouTube channel and all of what's going on here if it does pass. So please share it out, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Keep on trucking.